What is SPI in project management? A lot of teams love SPI because it feels scientific and you can technically or theoretically assess whether or not you're on track. But there are some hidden truths behind this. I'm going to explain what it is, but then I'm going to explain also what to really focus on if you're going to use this measurement, and leave you with some education that I think will affect how you run projects in the future so that you'll be more successful. Because that's the only reason I'm here, is to give, because I literally love you. So if you're interested in that, please stay with us on this video. So SPI is your Schedule Performance Index. It's basically your earned value divided by your planned value, and it tells you whether or not you're on track. It basically tells you whether or not you're tracking according to your baseline. So it's not unlike a baseline comparison or an S-curve, but we're using finances basically to measure this. And so this is a part of EVM, Earned Value Management. And basically we're using in this measurement, in this metric, we're assessing the progress of the project through finances. Okay, so the bottom line is, however much that should have been basically charged to cost of work or materials, basically however much money should have been spent by now, is assessed against how much money actually has been spent. And obviously if you're ahead, the assumption is that you're ahead of schedule, and if you are behind, that you're behind schedule. Okay, this is basically how this metric works. So if your SPI is 1, you're still matching the plan. If it's above 1, you look like you're ahead. If it's below 1, you look like you're behind. And it's basically meant to signal whether or not you're on schedule. But let me talk to you about the hidden truth here. The Schedule Performance Index, so tracking whether you're ahead or behind based on how much money you are spending or how much the owner has paid to date compared to what was projected in the baseline, in addition to S-curves, in addition to baseline comparisons, in addition to float trends, and a number of other CPM-based methods or methodologies. All of those do a very key thing, which is very, very dangerous. Let's say that my hands right here are representing the capacity of your workforce to get something done. Their capacity has to align with demand, or demand has to be within that. So that means that this is the capacity of your job site, the region, your resources to do work. What you're asking of it should be either at or below that. But what happens with these metrics is, if you're like, oh, I'm behind, well, what you're going to do is go purchase more materials, stage more materials, go pay for more crews, go do more things, go rush, push, and panic, go add labor, increase work in progress is what I'm saying. And the reason I always do this with my hands is because work in progress, the amount of things going on the site, can't exceed the trade partners or your resources and humans' capacity to do it with quality, because people are asked to do that all the time. Once your work in progress exceeds your capacity on a project site, you enter into a downward productivity spiral. Everything extends on the project because you are overburdening humans, you are creating unevenness, and you are creating waste. And that is just what happens. And I'll just give you a quick little example. When you add too much work in progress to the capacity of resources, then they start to bring out more labor, right? Additional crews work overtime. I've already talked to you about the fact that if you add more unprepared, meaning last minute, labor and crews to a project site, that's called Brooks's Law, and it is proven that if you add resources and human beings to an already late project, especially at the end, it will only extend the overall duration, because you enter into that downward productivity spiral where you add more people, and now you start batching work because you're working in multiple areas, which means you have context switching, you have larger team sizes, communication gets difficult, you have crew composition changes, supervisory changes, then you are like, hey, I need to start working overtime, which always fatigues the crew. Then you stop installing work right. Now you have rework. Now you take your focus off removing roadblocks out ahead, and now you have stops and restarts. It's an absolute nightmare. And so the problem is this: the more money you spend doesn't mean you're actually flowing in the field. The more materials you've purchased doesn't mean that you are actually going faster in the field. In fact, if you're purchasing those materials to make your metrics look better, you could actually be staging those in the wrong way, in the wrong sequence, and slowing down production because of overproduction, which then creates excess inventory, which then creates transportation motion defects because you have to fix those defects over processing and waiting. All of these production principles are fighting against you in that case. And so you cannot measure SPI on your project and think it's going to help you. The other thing is, what are you going to do when you're behind? What now? Rush and push and panic? That's only going to make things worse. Add more crews? That's only going to make things worse. Work more overtime? That's only going to make things worse. Crash an activity? Add resources to it? That's only going to make things worse. Bring out more materials? That's only going to make things worse. The only thing that you can do to actually speed up a project and actually know if you're on track is to create a real production plan in a time by location format and to track your handoffs, track how well you're removing roadblocks, track how many buffers you have remaining, and actually look visually on the plan as humans at how your strategic baseline is performing. And so SPI, technically, it's not a bad idea, but it doesn't actually tell you very much, and it leads to you doing things that will only hurt you. And since it's based on CPM, you know how I feel about that. It's only going to get worse from here. All of those metrics are not helping you. And if you're going to use SPI as an indicator, great, but only use it as an indicator for humans to come dig deeper at the gemba, at the place of work, at the scene of the crime, at the scene of the happening. It's called Genshi Genbutsu. Go see for yourself. It's not a metric that should trigger bad behavior. And here's something I'm going to leave with you. In the description below, I've got an amazing book called The 10 Myths of CPM. You will learn more about lean and CPM and earned value management and SPI in that book than any other source. And you'll also learn what to do instead if you really want to manage your project properly. And I'll put this into a blog post as well so that you have a summary of it where everything that we're doing here is for you. And if you want to reach out and ask specific questions and to get really good metrics, then please reach out in the comments below. I will always respond to you personally as long as I get the notification. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.